What's going on, my friends? It's your buddy, Reformed Stoic here, and I am about to take on a top 30 albums video. Got a couple of special surprises within this list throughout the video. So, we'll see how this goes. Probably going to need a little bit of editing as I'm trying to hash out my thoughts on every album. And probably going to be a decently long video because, why did I choose top 30 albums? Well, the way I went about this is that I just put every album I could think of that would possibly be on the list, and then maybe eliminated a couple of them, and then I started... First, I actually put them in order of the years that they came out, just for fun. But then from there, I started picking the order. And then I spent a lot of time being like, well, there's no way this album's above this album. There's no way this band's above that band. Spent some time refining it. And I decided, I listen to a lot of music. Top 30 albums is the way to go. And, as always, maybe I made a couple of mistakes here. Maybe there's like a couple, like something should really, you know what I mean? But I'm pretty confident about this list. And let's just go ahead and get down to it, guys. First up, the band Take, Taake, Overbevigorven Grater Himmerik from 2002. Not quite sure about that pronunciation, chuds. Can my computer read it? Let's see what my computer says.
Overbjorgven Grater Himmerik.
Overbjorn Grater Himmerik. So this is one of the only metal albums on the list. As you guys know, metal was a big part of my life near the end of high school. In college, after college, I played in a couple of technical death metal bands. Was always jamming metal with my friends. I have a whole metal side to my taste in music. And this is the band that I just really feel marks my special taste. It's a black metal band. I liked a few of their albums for sure. Dakovstad, I believe, is the one after. Natins Portins is the one before. Cool band. This album's a concept album about mountains in Norway, I believe. And, it's a little bit later in terms of black metal, 2002. Just very, very melodic. The guitar parts are very melodic. They got really melodic guitar parts with ugly black metal screeches over it. Yeah, stuff like that. Just really melodic guitar parts, ugly vocals over it. The lyrics are not in English. But I went on a lot of runs to them in high school. And just a really cool black metal band. Kind of a hidden gem in black metal, not as talked about. There was some controversy with them. The vocalist came out on stage with a swastika on his chest. He says that... he didn't do it for any particular reason. He was just trying to be edgy. Maybe that was a cop-out. I don't know. What I do know is that he did that a very long time ago. And, people like Antifa caught wind of it way later down the line. And then they made a big deal about it. And then they were banned from a bunch of clubs in America and stuff. Years and years and years. Decades later. I have no opinions on that. I just like their music. Anyway... As you can see, that's the very first album on the list, number 30, and I got a lot to say about every single album on this list, so yeah, I could throw that on every now and then. I'm not really crazy about screeching vocals anymore at this point, but it's a great album. 29, Metallica, Ride the Lightning from 1984. What's there to say about this album, man? You all know it. We all love it, right? You all love it, right? So like I said, I was metalhead, high school, college, right after college, and this album had always kind of just drifted below my radar. I was always into death metal, and technical death metal, black metal. I was always into the more extreme forms of metal and would kind of roll my eyes when anybody would bring up Metallica and I kind of overlooked them. So I actually really only discovered this album for myself like 3 years ago. 3 years ago when I was living in Vegas, and I just started to finally develop an appreciation. It's the stops, the hits. A lot of people talk crap about Lars Ulrich. You should not be talking crap about Lars Ulrich. Now, his thing is that he has a reputation for like speeding up live, maybe slowing down live, but I think it's mainly speeding up live. He's just got, you see, what it comes down to is his expertise is like creativity. He's one of these drummers whose specialty is creativity, very similar to Ringo Starr of the Beatles. I would say that Lars Ulrich is like the Ringo Starr of metal. You know, he doesn't have these like refined chops like other drummers, but he's got more chops than people are giving him an account for. And it's really like his work with cymbals. He puts in like a lot of interesting cymbal chokes that I think other people wouldn't think of, and then crash accents that other people wouldn't think of. It's neck and neck with this and Master of Puppets. Master of Puppets is more of like a prog metal release. Maybe arguably the better album, but for me it's a little bit less re-listenable because this one's just more raw. And this is the album that I'm going to go back to more. It's my favorite thrash metal album. I had a big thrash metal phase, and what it really comes down to, edging this over, like, you know, Rust in Peace from Megadeth, it's the vocals. Not trying to talk anything bad about thrash, but I feel like what puts thrash down on my lists for me more often than not is the vocals, and I think Hetfield's vocals just are very sellable for me. I think they're the least cheesy thrash metal vocals, to where I don't think they're cheesy at all. I think they're good vocals. So Ride the Lightning, man. Love it. It's gotta be For Whom the Bell Tolls. La da da da. That's gotta be my favorite track on the album. That opener though, whatever that fast opener, the name is falling off of the top, but you know, moving on. Now we got the last metal albums on the list. So let's go over some rules for this list, okay? If I decide that a band has 2 albums that I equally like or very close to equally like, I will give 2 albums from that band a tie, and they will share 1 place. And this is the first instance of that. We have 1 instance coming up of 2 separate bands sharing a place with 1 album, but we'll get to that later. This is going to be Death for Human, 1991, and Individual Thought Patterns, 1993. Now, I do have some of these albums on this list on hard copy on CD. I'm going to pull those up as I have them. None of these so far I have, unfortunately. I should definitely pick up these Death albums for sure. And then also Symbolic and Sound of Perseverance. It's very close between these 4 albums. I think what gives the nod ultimately for Human and Individual Thought Patterns, one, I really do think that these are the better albums than Symbolic and Individual Thought Patterns. It would really probably be in order of oldest to newest. I think Human would be number 1, Individual Thought Patterns 2, Symbolic 3, and then Sound of Perseverance 4. Gene Hoglan on drums for Symbolic, maybe like the fastest, probably like maybe the most technical drummer they had. It was the drummer of Cynic on Human and Individual Thought Patterns. RIP, he has passed away. These albums are a little bit more jazzy. I want to say a little bit more like pure metal, like less extreme metal. I don't think Death was ever death metal. I think it could be arguable to call them like progressive thrash, or even just technical metal. I'm tempted to call them like technical metal with growling vocals, especially for human and individual thought patterns. And what really edges these albums is the years. 91 and 93, so ahead of its time. I mean, all of their albums were ahead of their time, but Human in 1991, come on, bro. What sounded like Human from Death in 1991? What sounded like Individual Thought Patterns in 1993? Just technical, epic guitar. As far as drummers go, as far as a band that has had like legendary drummers, definitely shout outs to Richard Christie on Sound of Perseverance. He also played with Iced Earth. Gotta love Iced Earth. And, you know, we all know and love him from Howard Stern Show. Hey, Howard. Hey, Howard. Great stuff, man. I feel like there's more I could say about these albums, but yeah, if you haven't heard them, check it out. Super melodic. It's got some like prog, some like melodic stuff in there. You could hear maybe some like hints of melodic death metal riffs. Jazzy kind of sometimes, maybe jazzier than other metal at the very least. Great cymbal work. Yeah, rip Chuck Schuldiner, man. He went on a perennial quest and he became a Christian. Maybe a few years before he died. Number 27, The Cure. It was tough to pick which album. I thought it was going to be Faith from 1981, but we're not reaching too far outside of the box. Disintegration, 1989. A lot of you guys were around for my Cure phase. I got hard and heavy into the Cure, and I had discovered them like a few years prior in the Vegas times. It's just a great album, man. It's like Kyle said in South Park, as Robert Smith was like floating off into the distance. Disintegration was a perfect album. It was, man. It really was. Just bangers, end to end. It's very mellow. It's very not busy. I'm not always going to be in the mood for it. Ultimately, that's not really the kind of mood I'm in right now. As we go through this list, I'll start telling you about like the kind of bands that I really want to listen to right now. I had to take into account like burning albums out, going through phases. Now, I will always love all of these albums, and I definitely could pull any of them up just about any time. But I listen to so many different styles of music. It's going to be really interesting seeing the different styles of music that are on this list. Gotta love the Disintegration from The Cure. Probably unarguably their best album. Regardless of which of their albums is a favorite for you from them. So, here comes number 26. Now, this is going to be interesting because this is the 1-2 band tie. I have both of these albums on hard copy. Let's make sure you're getting a good view here. We got Strong Arm, Advent of a Miracle, and then Shai Hulud. Let me, Hearts Once Nourished with Hope and Compassion. Both albums from 1997, both hardcore bands with a similar sounding style. They shared the same drummer at one point, who really is like one of my favorite drummers. It's Keith. It's just not. Nope. And I don't know if it was Keith on this album. For Shai Hulud. I'm trying to... Man, they should just have that, like, super accessible... I mean, maybe it seems kind of egotistical if, it's right up front, I guess. I don't know. I feel like I should have been able to just... Oh, there it was, right there. Okay, yeah. Stephen Clesieth. Oh, so it's not... Is that it? Yeah, that last name sounds right. So I guess it's Stephen Clesieth. I thought it was Keith. Clesieth kind of sounds like Keith. Anyway, there's another band further up on the list, way further, further up on the list that has the same drummer. So yeah, it actually was Cleesieth on both of these albums. Now, I think it's going to be Strong Arm, Advent of a Miracle that edges these two albums for me. This is a Christian hardcore band. Now, hardcore is a very interesting genre of music. When people hear hardcore, a lot of people are going to think like Black Flag, 7 Seconds, Cro-Mags, 80s hardcore. So I guess you would say this is like 90s hardcore. As far as I know, this is pure hardcore, pure 90s hardcore. Maybe some people would want to say it's post-hardcore, but no, that's more like Drive like Jehu. And then some people want to say like, oh no, dude, like Taking Back Sunday is post-hardcore. It's like, no, that's not. I'm tempted to call Taking Back Sunday like second wave post-emo or emo pop punk or something. Hardcore fans are notoriously, maybe not notoriously, in my opinion, I don't want to say snobby, but very particular and elitist. And sometimes it's really hard to like label stuff. I'd say this is 90s hardcore. So what can I say about these albums? Hard hitting, hard. I ultimately replaced my love for like technical death metal and death metal with this kind of music. This hits every bit as heavy. This is every bit like as maybe unlistenable for people who don't like this kind of music. Instead of like the Cookie Monster, ooh, it's got the... How do I even emulate these vocals? But it's even heavier than that, bro. Especially Strong Arm. And, I winded myself a little bit. I'm not really in the mood right now. What I'm doing... See, I'm off weed now. I'm straight edge completely when it comes to drugs. No more drinking and drugs. So I'm really close. Now I need to get off of the pornography and I need to do nofap, like, indefinitely. There was a time when I was off of weed and I wasn't drinking anyway and I was doing nofap. That's when I really spoke this language, man. Especially for Strong Arm. It's like, hey, man, I'm a Christian and you just need to get out of my way. I'm having a hard time. I might beat the shit out of you if you don't know how to fight and you're smaller than me. Technical drumming, really technical, like progressive parts. I'm not amazing at analyzing guitar. I'm not sure if the guitar is like rocket science, but there's a lot of movement in this music. A lot of like not repetition. It goes a lot of places. And, yeah, this is really good stuff for me, man. So there's fun facts about this album that I'll bring up later, because the band that the members of this band went on to form is a band that's way higher up on the list for me. Now, for this band, you got Chad Gilbert, who was on vocals at the time. Yeah, Chad Gilbert. He's the genius behind New Found Glory. He does guitar and backup vocals for New Found Glory, and I'm pretty sure he kind of just like writes a lot of everything. You could say that easycore, which if you listen to New Found Glory, you'll really hear like the "my friends over," ba 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 ba. They got like breakdowns and stuff. Easycore. Chad Gilbert is like the genius behind easycore. You know, maybe New Found Glory is not your cup of tea. Pop punk, hardcore, that kind of hardcore pop punk isn't your cup of tea, but it made a lot of money. It was famous as crap, and Chad Gilbert is a genius. And yeah, he went on to basically be the mastermind behind New Found Glory. Okay, that's a lot of love for the 26th position. But, you know, there's two bands that tied there. Strong Arm, Advent of a Miracle, and Shai Hulud, Hearts Once Nourished with Hope and Compassion. 1997. 25. Mega Drive, Hardwired. This is the only electronic album on the list. Dance, electronic. You know, this album, this band mainly, but this album ultimately gets the nod for my favorites. There's some others that are really close, but really this is an end-to-end banger for me. The amount of runs I've gone on to this album, the amount of hitting the heavy bag, jump rope, this is maybe the most listened to album on this entire list, just because it's so good for working out to. Hardwired for Mega Drive, just so melodic, so epic. I've used it in the background of some of my videos, I believe, when I'm trying to make a point that really hits home. I have ideas for videos in the future where I will use some songs. Now, some of my favorite singles aren't necessarily from this album at this point, because I have played this album to death. But, yeah, 2013, I believe this is the latest year on the list, the only electronic album on the list. And that's about all I got to say about it. It's great for working out to. It's epic, no vocals, just hard-hitting, I guess it's dance electronic music. So, yeah, Mega Drive, Hardwired, specifically V1.4. Okay, so now, next physical copy that I have. This is a very interesting album for this list, because this band didn't get excellent reviews. And I think this is the only album they came out with. This is Terminal, How the Lonely Keep. And I believe the year was, 2005. I was going to say 2004. No, 2005. Funny story behind my discovery of this band. Some friends that were in the military here that I met in middle school. There was one specifically, and then he had an older brother. They introduced me to so many of these kind of like post-hardcore bands, and like this is a band on Tooth and Nail Records. A lot of artists, I think both of these albums from the earlier Strong Arm and Shai Hulud, they were on Tooth and Nail Records as well. Revelation Records for Shai Hulud, but Strong Arm is an early Tooth and Nail Records band. Tooth and Nail Records is an awesome Christian hardcore label. So Terminal, How the Lonely Keep. Yeah, this is a very, very unique to my tastes. I'm just a failure, feeling better than I ever have. If this is right, then I'm ready to live. Yeah, end-to-end bangers on this, man. And this is kind of like the first emo 2000s emo band, but this is like one of the lesser known ones. And if you like that kind of music, you know, if you like the popular stuff like Taking Back Sunday, Finch, The Used, My Chemical Romance, I really was never crazy into My Chemical Romance. Senses Fail, you should really check out this album. Terminal, How the Lonely Keep. What's some other stuff on here?
We just wish ourselves away. They're so good to smile again. We're proud familiar faces, remind me we were only strangers, burying a friend. Remember the year we all spent laughing, feels guilty to feel happy, it never should. But nobody stopped to ask you if it was okay, oh, surely there had to be a way.
Great album, man. Super underrated. Terminal, How the Lonely Keeps. Yeah, so my friends, I never told the story. The older brother joined a band called The Terminal. And I looked it up. I was like, whoa, he joined Terminal? Like, this is sick, dude. Your brother's in a sick band. But he was in a band called The Terminal. And that's how I found Terminal. Great album, man. I love it. Okay. So that was 24. Okay, 23, another physical copy. A Thorn for Every Heart. An album, Things Aren't So Beautiful Now. 2007, and this album sounded like it could have been earlier in the history of like 2000s emo, post-hardcore, 2000s post-hardcore emo. It's not really post-hardcore, bro. Some people tried to say that these emo bands are actually post-hardcore, but no, post-hardcore is actually 90s bands primarily. I think this should be called like third wave emo or second wave pop emo or something like that. And people should respect my opinion on this kind of music. I love post-hardcore, I love hardcore, and I love this kind of music, the 2000s emo. Anyway, yeah, this is 2007. It sounds like it could be like 2005 to me, but it's got some more of like the screaming. This is kind of like some screamo type of stuff.
If my chance are within the distance, have to try.
I'm failing for all eternity. Every time you breathe, I hope you think of me. Those are the words you told me.
They got two vocalists, like kind of singing at the same time over each other. Some really interesting counterpoint.
One question, we have to try. Won't you tell me? I want you to always remember. I promise I always will. What said you wait for my return? I promise I'm coming home.
Yeah, they got the dual vocalists that both kind of like sing at the same time, which is why it's so awkward me trying to sing it. Pretty much end-to-end bangers on this album. I had to go back and listen. It's like, are you sure you like this whole album, bro? Yeah, I really do, man. You know, not quite end-to-end bangers. There's a couple of tracks that are just about like filler tracks. The songs on the album that really stand out to me: 99 with an Anchor, February, that's what I was just singing, A Night to Remember, A Morning to Forget, Next of Kin, The Prediction. The Prediction's probably my favorite song on the album.
So leaving my body behind, I didn't get to talk to you. Why this is the end of my life.
Yeah, it sounds like the concept of that song is like somebody who like died in a car crash and they're missing their girlfriend or something. That song's called The Prediction. I think that's the best on the album. And then Things Aren't So Beautiful Part 2. That's a great track too. Ooh, FBI, anti-piracy. Watch out, guys. Feds will get you if you pirate this album. Hey, I bought it. Feds. Take me off the list. Great album, man. Underrated. Truth Custom Drums. The first time I ever heard about that band was because their drummer was on the sponsorship roster for Truth Custom Drums. This day and age. So this is 22 now. Always Leave the Ground. Another album that, I think it got alright reviews. A lot of people like the album that came out after this, which I still have to check out more. You know, ultimately my friend who died, they called him the Emo King, Filipino dude, great guy. We played in a band called Winter's Apathy together. I was in middle school and everybody else in the band was in high school. Kind of an emo stereotype. The drummer is younger than everybody else. Census Fail had a really young drummer. He was like 17 or 15 or something when they came out with From Depths of Dreams EP. Yeah, so my buddy told me about this band.
Wrong about yesterday. So this is high school or just homecoming. We dance all night.
When I show this to people, they don't dig it. They think it's really soft. This is very soft.
Everything will turn out just the way she planned.
I think this is a great album. I had to check up on this one today. Pretty much end-to-end bangers. You know, the only song that I wasn't crazy about was the very last one, Long Walk Home. But the ones that really stand out, Sometimes, Hourglass, Second Place Victory, The Day We Start.
Since the day we started, I found truth in you. I knew since the day we parted.
Great drumming. Really great drumming on this album. Great drumming on this album. What was the year here? 2004. Yeah, 2004. That's such a great year. Such a great year early into the 2000s emo band. So yeah, my friend, Emo King, rest in peace. He was chased off of a balcony in the Philippines when I was first going to college. This is like a very little known band in the genre that he recommended to me. Great recommendation, buddy. Rest in peace. Number 21. Number One Gun. I really like this band, not just this album. I like all the albums after this too. I wouldn't say the other albums are as end-to-end as this one, though. This album is pretty end-to-end bangers. Celebrate Mistakes for Number One Gun. 2003, ahead of its time. Really sick drumming, especially on the songs You Fail Sometimes, which I've been meaning to do a drum cover of forever. And then Get Up, The Way I Feel. Man, and I did do a drum cover of that one. You can check it out on my 7-Stroke Guru YouTube. Really great drumming. This band did not get great reviews. Tooth and Nail Records Did I miss any Tooth and Nail records? Yeah, this is also Tooth and Nail records. And, yeah, so Christian band. You know, I've noticed that maybe some of their lyrics could be better. Sometimes there's like some filler parts on their songs, but this is a really special band to me. I like it when I like a band that not everybody else likes. This was probably their most, like, emo. This is that 2000s, what do we call it? Pop, emo, music.
It's good to know that you fail sometimes. Try to see, but you're right offline. Could it be so bad? You follow all these dreams that I had. Use them for your glory. But you know that you know to get up. It's the way I feel sometimes.
Great stuff, man. And as the albums went on, they got like less and less emo, but they stayed true. Really, really got to shout out the album they did in 2010, like Knowledge to a Secret, something like that. It was really fun watching this band mature, bro. But this is like this is the album that was really fitting in with the emo of the time. Most nostalgic for me. It was those military people that I told you about. He had this band listed in his favorite bands on MySpace. Dude, he was like the stereotypical emo kid. He was on MySpace before everybody. In his about section, he had like a never-ending list of bands that he liked. He was like the indie kid, dude. I'm pretty sure he's like the indie kid of the world. Whatever your indie kid friend is, or you're an indie kid, I think he beat you, dude. He had so many bands listed, and I heard so much great stuff from him. This is a great album, dude. Check him out if you like that kind of music. 20. I Can Make a Mess Like Nobody's Business. Also heard about this from the military kid. So this is the side project of the early November. I can't say if this is a concept album or not, but as an album, it's very seamless. It just kind of fits in together very well. There's little radio clips throughout the entire album. A lot of the songs have concepts. This is just such a great album. A lot of like untitled tracks on here.
She's so smart today. She thought she could be right here again. I can't please myself, not please. And it's you who I can't be from. Empty stairs, find you there. I think it's a different song. Always by your side, knowing nothing and it's always right. And we've come oh so far. The gates of strength, now we pull too hard. And now all you want is gone. And now all you want is gone. Now I'm all I've got. Always in control, you never make a big deal, you're always on your own. You never need someone to feel good for yourself. And we're all finding ways to find ourselves in these broken, fallen walls that we call our own. And we're never looking away. Hopefully someday we can just stay young.
Yeah, man, end-to-end bangers, the entire album. Man, the one song that has such a great... there's a song on here that the concept is about like leaving behind fear.
Known him our whole lives and it now walk through the door, the same one you came in, so we can go back how things used to be.
Talking about like leaving behind fear, the moment in your life when you became afraid, and it's like it's grabbing you by the hand and walking you through this process of leaving behind fear and going back to the way things used to be. This guy, the lead singer in Early November, he's really talented, man. He's a really talented songwriter. I also like the Early November. I can't say like any of the albums are end-to-end bangers for me. I really liked The Room's Too Cold EP back in the day. That was a full album, actually. And then a lot of the songs on the EP, probably my favorite Early November songs. This is so great, man. I Can Make a Mess Like Nobody's Business. You're going to have to check this out. So I definitely used to have this on hard copy. I don't have it with me. This was like one of the first albums I ever owned. I think I got it for my birthday in 5th grade. Sum 41, all killer, no filler. We'll be here all day if I sing all the songs on this album.
Don't know what you really got, cause I too stay and not pretend. Can't make sense in what you thought, seems I can't comprehend. I'm happy to be only all that you see, and I'm not one to learn to be the same. I don't wanna hear you bitch no more.
I could just keep going, dude. Man, low-key, my favorite song on that album might be the Power Ballad.
Said this once before. You don't do those things you used to anymore. Say it down. We're fading out, forgetting who we used to be.
Such a great album. I could seriously just sing every song through the whole freaking album, bro. So great. It's a tradition of mine. As soon as the weather warms up, as soon as it's spring, as soon as the winter's gone, the cold weather's gone, I listen to this album. End-to-end bangers. The intro is creepy as shit.
Children of the beast embrace, to scorn and hate the human race, consume the light that hugs the earth, and aid the womb in giving birth to a group that will appear and guide you through this final year. The dark armies then will come, when the psalm is 41.
And it's like, whoa, is that some like weird like satanic stuff? I don't know, dude. I don't think so. I thought about it, man, because I ended up getting into rap. I was always into like pop punk and emo. I ended up getting into metal. Sum 41 sometimes is kind of metal, kind of rap.
Stolen through the party like my name is El Nino. I'm hanging out drinking in the back of El Camino.
And then yeah, they have this way of like putting thrash riffs. You see, Blink-182 is way more like, they got some like hardcore influence with Travis Barker. I'd say that Sum 41 doesn't really have like any hardcore influence. It's more like pure pop punk. And then sometimes there's like thrash. I'll tell you what, All Killer No Filler, or no, I'm sorry, Does This Look Infected is also a great album. Also end-to-end bangers, just about tied with this one. But I really think this album just beats it out in importance for me. Great album, man. 18, Rufio.
Rufio.
Talking about like thrash guitar. So it's ultimately Perhaps, I Suppose, and I actually had it tied with the following album because I got in the other album first. So that other one's called MCMLXXXV from 2003. Both those albums are pretty much tied. I think this one edges it out. Probably my favorite Rufio song is Selfishness.
Selfishness to anyone, if anything turns inside out, look to the cloudliness in your mind.
But what you're not hearing while I'm singing that is the guitar behind that. Like, dude, the guitar player in Rufio is so sick. And the drummer! People are wondering how I got so fast in metal. It's like, what was the early metal albums that you were playing to get fast? Like, yeah, Raining Blood from Slayer, and, you know, actually, funny thing, it was Metallica. What's that album from? Saint Anger. I was playing, like, tracks from Saint Anger, but Rufio, the drumming in Rufio is fast as crap, dude. Hold me by the arms, tell me what to believe. That one way to see. With every fate you choose, may not be for me. Now can I be safe? I'll be forced to believe. This countdown is breaking me. So don't leave. My time is up. It looks like you're wrong. When you said it's all done, you're good up my eyes. Dude, so fast. Rufio is hands down the fastest pop punk band. And when it's funny, like you're comparing it to like the thrash beats, the skank beats, and some thrash metal. Rufio's faster, dude. Rufio is like a sick thrash metal band that just like makes pop punk music. And I really dig it. I think they're super underrated. I also like the album The Comfort of Home, which did not get great reviews, but hey, I like a lot of albums that didn't get great reviews. Love it, man. Love Rufio. Very important to my middle school, high school years. Mainly middle school and early high school.
Alone she cries, lose that hate inside. Alright, we gotta sing less songs. We gotta keep moving.
17.
Blink.
It's Cheshire Cat. 1995 Cheshire Cat. Of all the Blink-182 albums that we all know and love, I choose their first full-length studio release, Cheshire Cat. Why? Am I trying to be cool? No, I can tell you that's genuinely my favorite. And, you know, close behind it is the self-titled, I'd say. I mean, I love all their albums, dude. You know, I could definitely... Dude Ranch, Now, for those of you who don't know, that's before they had Travis Barker. They had Scott Raynor, and yeah, he had some disagreements with the band. Some people, it's rumored that they had that song Man Overboard, and it was about Scott Raynor supposedly being an alcoholic and having some trouble with the band. Maybe that's part of why he left. They had to get Travis Barker, though, bro. Travis Barker added absolutely so much to the band. You're about to see I actually did get a Travis Barker album on this list.
Like the Kinkos, and I made fun of that guy. I used to fight, never make it up. And in my town, you can't drive naked. Maybe I'd impress her by being an abandoned. Maybe if I act real tough, she'll let me hold her hand. And maybe I'll win her heart by writing this song about her. Sometimes I sit at home and wonder if she's sitting at home thinking of me. Oh man, sometimes I feel like all I hope for just gets thrown out on the floor, and I feel like you don't love me anymore. Sometimes I wish that I could run away. Sometimes I wish that I had something to say.
Just so many great songs on that album, bro.
My pants are off right now. Do you want to know what I think of you? 'Cause you're not the way I thought you should be. To take back what you said. It's time to fix your head.
Peggy Sue.
And your head gets so cluttered inside, try to stay awake. Everything they say are lies. It's all the shit that you ever had to hold in. All your aggressions, because you're blind into going down to the bottom of your pit. It's not easy, so damn pleasing.
Love it, man. End-to-end bangers. You know, maybe the goofy songs at the end. And it's funny how catchy. Blink-182 will make a joke song, and they'll make it just as catchy, if not more catchy, than their main songs. Yeah, it's funny how sometimes I feel like Blink-182 will waste a song on a joke song because they'll make it so catchy, man. It's just great, man. And yeah, the drummer, Scott Raynor, he had a really fast right hand. Like, he's doing the fast skank beats too, but like really heavy right hand. I really built up my ride cymbal and my hi-hat right hand by jamming along to this album. And sometimes, man, I'd put on this and Dude Ranch, play every song on the album. Maybe someday, if I'm feeling up to it, I could do like a full album drum cover of Cheshire Cat and Dude Ranch. It used to be a big part of my drumming routine back in middle school. Okay, yeah, love it. Blink-182 Cheshire Cat. Okay, another album that I do have. I have Blink-182 Cheshire Cat and hard copy. Just don't have it with me. I had it way back in the day. Boxcar Racer, number 16. Boxcar Racer, 2002. Those of you who don't know, that is Blink-182's side project. Travis Barker on drums, Tom DeLonge, guitar, vocal, songwriting, and then the bass player and I think another guitar player were both, I should have looked this up, but I believe they were both from the Transplants. I think that's right. Maybe there was somebody from Rancid too? I'm not really sure about that. I should have looked that up, but you can go ahead and check it out. A lot of story behind this album, guys. Mark was filling in on bass for Newfound Glory while they were making this album. And it's some of Blink-182's, or some of Tom DeLonge's best songwriting. It's some of the best songwriting that ever came from Blink-182. And I think this is kind of the beginning of the tension between Mark and Tom that led to Tom leaving Blink-182.
'Cause I feel so mad, feel so angry, feel so careless, so lost, confused again, feel so cheap, used, unfaithful, let's start over, great drumming.
The way the drums sound, Travis Barker's Orange County drums and percussion, oh my gosh. Some of my favorite drum sounds ever on that album, some of my favorite drumming ever on that album. Is Travis Barker overrated? I'd say no. People, like, this is like a good chud meme. Man, you have any idea how many jazz fuse drummers and metal drummers are better than Travis Barker? Dude, you gotta take into account, like, how many albums Travis Barker's played on, how many people want to play with Travis Barker, and then just how good he actually is. And now Travis Barker does collabs with, like, gospel chops drummers like Jerome Flood II. And Travis knows, dude, he is a very studious drummer. And you ask any record label or studio that ever worked with Travis Barker, and it's like, yo, he's a one-take drummer. He gets in there, and he gets it done. You have any idea how many bands' drummers like get mogged by studio drummers who end up having to record the album because they just can't get it done in the studio? I've worked in the studio before, bro. I used to have some trouble in the studio way back in the day. I mean, I got better over time, but Travis Barker is not like overrated, bro. He is really sick. He was drumline. He adds so much. People point out how, like, you know, Blink-182, Boxcar Racer, it's chords, you know? It's just kind of like chords. There's not a lot going on melodically. Just a lot of great songwriting with great drumming right behind it where it's like borderlining on overplaying, but it's not. It adds to the song.
Call me back when word is that she's gone. Cat life thief, she stole air from my lungs.
Great album, bro. Yeah, I gotta stop singing so much. We're taking a long time to get through this. 15.
This is the new year, and I don't feel any different in the distance.
Death Cab for Cutie, Transatlanticism from 2003. And I just listened to this again for the first time since high school, like a few days ago. And I remembered, you know what? This is such a good album. I can't believe that I left this album in the past. And I liked other Death Cab albums, but, you know, I tried to listen to Plans, and I ended up turning it off after a few tracks. I love Soul Meets Body, the single from that album. But no, this is the end-to-end banger album for me from Death Cab for Cutie. 2003, absolute perfect year. It's just such good songwriting.
Ooh-ah-ho, ooh-ah-oh, I'll bleed, minds bleed, ooh-ah-oh.
That's probably my favorite song in the album.
I need you so much closer.
Super epic song. Just really great songwriting and a very smart drummer. Very smart drumming. Actually, the drummer did a clinic on one of the Modern Drummer Festival DVDs. I think he went to Berkeley. Just very, like, clever drum parts. You might not, like, catch it unless you're a drummer for yourself. Very creative drumming that adds a lot to the music. Yeah, man. Death Cab for Cutie, Transatlanticism. I think that's how you pronounce it. Love it. Great album. I'm going to have to listen to it a bunch again because I kind of forgot about it for years. Okay, so that was 15. So we've made the halfway mark, and I actually am going to take a break and go make waffles and then get this fired up again. So, special surprise for you, Chuds. EPs. EP albums. A couple of my favorite EP albums. I didn't count it with my favorite albums because they're EPs. So I'll just get through them really quick. Amber Pacific, Fading Days.
So why should I take your hand when you can't promise happy endings?
Fall Out Boy stole a riff from them.
I faintly remember yesterday was so clear but far away. For the lies that we heard won't stand still. And never in the saddest moment I feel we're letting go.
Great drummer, end-to-end bangers. It's only a 5-song EP. Really nice acoustic song on for their last track. Amber Pacific, Fading Days, 2004. I had an Amber Pacific t-shirt in middle school, and the teachers kept getting me in trouble because they thought it was a beer. I mean, Amber is beer. Yeah, they thought Amber Pacific was a beer, and maybe it is, but it's also a band, a great band. Seosin, Translating the Name, 2003. Okay? Absolutely love it. I love all the Seosin before their first album. To be honest with you, I wasn't really ever a fan of their albums. They had Anthony Green on vocals, who maybe makes an appearance later in the list.
Taking on 7 years, the Holy Ghost has left alone.
Amazing drumming. Like, seriously, among the best drummers on this list. How would I even describe his drumming, man? It's like metalcore drumming with like some gospel chops. It's very raw, obviously not quantized, which I really respect. Just like really raw. Maybe some people will be like, oh, the timing's not good, but sometimes it's better when the timing's not perfect, bro. It kind of like marked some of these pop punk and emo whatever albums. Sometimes I like it when the timing's not perfect, bro. Honestly. Seosin translated the name, and then Census Fail from Depths of Dreams.
It went so nice, sitting very still in a room where no one else can feel the pain that breaks my heart each day.
Census Fail has some very dark lyrics, man, especially on Let It Enfold You, and I loved that album in high school. I said that like maybe has some of the most subversive lyrics of any album from the genre, if you look into them. I consider that it was probably like ghost written by a Freemason or somebody, some dark label person, because this band was notoriously young. They were very young. The drummer was 15 when they came out with this EP, From the Depths of Dreams EP, in 2002.
So I had a dream last night where I took that knife to you. A 5-year-old tried to stop me, but I shot him through the head, and now he's dead.
There's those dark lyrics. Shot a 5-year-old through the head. What the hell, dude?
But every dream could never come true. But only in my dark mind can write down these things to you. For every passing moment, it just keeps getting worse. The walls are getting smaller, but time keeps repeating itself. Ooh, I will pay. Ooh, I will be just last.
Really good stuff, man. I think the best that Census Fail has to offer is on this EP. So, that is the bonus EP section. Oh, yeah, and I was going to put Breaking Pangea, Canon to a Whisper. I can't even, think of any of the songs from this right now. I'm going to try to not do as much singing. In part 2, I've decided this is going to be a 2-parter, you guys, because this is massive. We've got, through the first half, the backup singer on Taking Back Sunday. This was his band, and then he eventually joined Taking Back Sunday. Really love. This is their first album. I'm not even sure if this is an EP. I guess you could say this is a full album. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, this is probably an album. But we'll go ahead and mention it with the EP section. So I'm just burnt out on hearing myself talk, you guys. So I'm going to go ahead and end this one right here. Call this part 1. I'm going to go ahead and upload it and edit it and all that and premiere it. And then, I'm going to get nice and rested up, eat some waffles. We'll have some laughs and enjoy this. And then I'll do part 2. So that is 30 through 15 of my top 30 favorite albums, my friends, my chuds. I hope you enjoyed it. Sorry for all the singing. I'm trying to prove to you that I actually like these albums. And apart from this being so long, I want to make sure I don't rush. I started to maybe give less time to albums that were higher up on the list. But yeah, so I'm going to get nice and rested up before we do the second half. Thank you for listening, you guys. God bless you. Check all these albums out. God bless.